From Albuquerque, New Mexico, welcome to College Hoops on FS1. We are in the Mountain West, and today we're at the pit for the only scheduled meeting of the season between the Broncos of Boise State and the Lobos of New Mexico. With Steve Lavin, I'm JB Long, and Boise State arrives on an 8-game winning streak.
Well, Coach Leon Rice, JB, loves his stout defense. That's been the catalyst for the Broncos' offensive numbers, which are sizzling hot as well.
And that defense will be tested by a Lobos group that can score it 78 points per game, second in the Mountain West Conference.
So a dynamic duo in Jamal Mashburn Jr. and Jalen House. Coach Richard Pitino is back after a 2-game absence due to COVID protocols. So New Mexico looking to get back on track.
Take a look at the starting five for both head coaches. Marcus Shaver Jr. for the Broncos, coming off 28 points on Wednesday at Nevada, his most as a Bronco. As for the Lobos, Sebastian Forsling is a 7-foot freshman from Sweden. Arrived with the thought of redshirting, but now he's getting more and more with Emmanuel Quach, their latest loss in the front court for New Mexico. So the Broncos in their road whites, the Lobos in their turquoise Nike N7 uniforms. One of several programs across the country outfitted with that look to show their support and to honor Native American student athletes. Here is Jalen House with the first possession for the Lobos. Javonte Johnson, their best three-point shooter by percentage. Singleton is a captain on the block, going up against Degenhardt. And the freshman comes away with the block.
Good possession early, just not able to convert.
Big guards for the Broncos. Albuquerque turns it over. Javonte Johnson with the steal. Out in transition, Singleton gets the block. Shaver retreating, tried to take the charge, but that's his first foul. First whistle of the game goes against the Boise State Broncos. Richard Pitino is back, having missed the past 2 games due to COVID protocols, with his assistant Eric Brown covering his absence.
We enjoyed the conversation yesterday with Richard Pitino. Really respect his big picture view in terms of the importance of being patient as he tries to put a foundation in place for long-term success, not looking for the quick fix, but instead building, and it starts here.
A couple of errant free throws from Singleton, who's only at 40% for his season. Yeah, Pitino's line for the Lobos is, we're hitting the reset button, and not for the first time this season. Another whistle away from the basketball. This time it goes against the Lobos. Leon Rice, meanwhile, the dean of the Mountain West. A dozen seasons, and he kind of forecast this defensive-minded season for his Broncos.
Yeah, a lifer in the coaching profession. A terrific coach. Really checks all the boxes, JB. Recruiting, motivator, skill development, nice cut.
So this Washington State Prep Player of the Year, Tyson Degenhardt, has helped turn their year around since, as Rice described it, they hit rock bottom at 3 and 4.
And that precise offense, well-devised and really emblematic of the Broncos' approach. Sharing the basketball, looking for one another, great spacing, and it's a team that really prides themselves in passing.
House creating for Singleton, who could not hit from the corner. Albuquerque here, 6'7", a former Oregon Duck. His partner in the backcourt, Emmanuel Acott, runs 6'8" and 210. He's a big backcourt, as you'll see in college basketball. Really stresses opposing defenses.
Yeah, the ability to see over the top. They can also invert their approach offensively and put those guards down low with their playmaking and shot-making ability.
Jamal Mashburn Jr. off 1 foot. It's one and done for the Lobos. New Mexico is up-tempo. They are top 12 in the country in that category. Boise State a bit more methodical. From Marcus Shaver Jr. Misfired 3. Extra possession, Mladen Armush.
Misses the bunny at point-blank range.
House to Mashburn. That's the combination for New Mexico.
They see the Lobos, they'll push the ball in transition, look for that quick strike opportunity. And that's the pace or tempo that you noted that New Mexico prefers to play at. The key for them is being efficient, taking care of the basketball. And when you play at pace, still looking for the good look, the good shot.
Nice find. Akot to Armush.
Well, there's that two-man game, playing in pairs or a tandem within the five-man approach. There are opportunities to play two-man basketball, and Boise State does that as well as anybody on the West Coast.
This is Forsling, the 7-foot freshman. Yet to hit from distance on his season. That was his third attempt of the 21-22 campaign. Akot decides to back his man down. Singleton all the way to the lane. Couldn't score it.
A little bit of that NBA flavor by Boise State. They'll look for matchups that they feel are an advantage, whether it's a mismatch in terms of size or speed, quickness. Matchup that they look like.
House with a clever dribble to get all the way home. It rolls off, and he'll have to settle for a couple of free throws.
Well, House here, a little change of pace. The shiftiness gets into the gap, and a great pass to Mashburn for the lock and load, quick release. That's textbook transition basketball, early offense.
This is where the Lobos like to live, at the foul line. You know the old coaching cliche, can you make more free throws than your opponent attempts? New Mexico does that more nights than not. They're 5th in D1 in made free throws, top 10 in attempts. 22% of their scoring this season from the foul line, even though it's been a rocky start from the stripe.
That's one of the reasons they like to push the ball down the floor before your opponent gets set defensively. There are opportunities, whether it's off the bounce or the early offense three-pointer.
Kijab Sarai brings the whistle on Jamal Mashburn. Fours all around, 4 minutes in, 4 points apiece. We're in the Mountain West today. College hoops on FS1. One segment into our Mountain West contest between Boise State riding an 8-game winning streak and New Mexico trying to snap out of a 3-game funk to open their league schedule.
Yeah, we talked about two-man game, and this is one of the elements that the Broncos will take advantage of. You see the screen, the roll, and then Akot able to see over the top of the defense at 6'8" and survey and throw that precise pass. Now, if you're New Mexico, you want to close down distance defensively and take away that open look or the ability to window shop over the top of the defense. That's what Richard Pitino will talk about.
One thing Leon Rice told us is that when Akot is assisting, that's when not only the team's really good, it's also when he's shot the ball the best.
That means you're in rhythm.
Into the game and into the iron. Lucas Milner, a senior from Kansas.
Yeah, Milner showing the ability to stretch out there, a little chin up on the rim.
It's only his third made field goal of the season, so in a surprise appearance early in this contest on the road at the pit. Mashburn hits the Jets, too strong on the lane. Tip rebound, Shaver. Max Rice into the contest on the Euro. So a couple of free throws coming for Max Rice. Let's go back and look at the 6'10" senior from Johnson County Community College.
Well, again, sharing the basketball. Milner just with one bounce able to gather and elevate for the easy deuce. Poor rotation, not much resistance there for New Mexico. Coach Pitino will not be pleased with that. New Mexico, JB, has gotten some good looks. I like what they're doing offensively in terms of their concepts. They are lifting Boise State some in terms of spacing. There's been good ball movement. Touch passes. They just haven't been able to convert or finish.
Of course, the Lobos have been decimated in their front court, and what I sense from the move to Milner early from Boise State is that the Broncos are trying to capitalize on that. You go back in time for New Mexico, They started without 6'10" Valdir Manuel, who was suspended by the previous staff, ended up leaving the program. Then sophomore center Jethro Muscadin left the program before Christmas and unfortunately was involved in a life-threatening car accident. Subsequently, still battling for his life. Most recently, junior big Emmanuel Quach broke his leg during a recent game against Utah State. So that's where they are up front. They'll have to knock down some of these. J. Allen Tovar from distance.
Again, New Mexico offensively with a sound approach here.
Foul goes against Birima Seck, 6'11" freshman from Senegal, also getting bigger minutes for Richard Pitino. I think they got him again. So 2 quick fouls on Seck, who on Tuesday appeared in his first game since December the 9th, but again pressed into more minutes without Quach. Rice on the bounce. Key jab behind the back at the wing. Another whistle on New Mexico defensively.
That's the 6th foul. So moving towards the bonus and ultimately the double bonus. Boise again looking for matchups, exploring post touches, trying to get a piece of the paint, whether it's through a pass or the use of the dribble.
Short clock, clean look. Degenhardt bottoms at 41% from behind the arc.
Nice misdirection there. You see that in football often, a sport that you broadcast. The gridiron style of taking the ball one way, getting the defense to commit, and then throwing back across the grain for the step-in three-pointer.
I think a lot of programs would take Degenhardt as a tight end there left, to your point. Rattled off 3 straight Mountain West Freshman of the Week honors.
Going back that last possession, again, it was a 2-man game, a tandem, playing in pairs. Acott.
Warner got in deep, couldn't hit it right shoulder.
Acott to Degenhardt. Let's see if they continue to explore that. Here's House with that early offensive look. And this is a good spacing here. We talk about high and wide, trying to stretch that Boise State defense.
KJ Jenkins, a captain off the bench. Good 6th man of the year candidate here in this conference. That's a big bucket for Birima Seck. Came off the bench to take a couple of fouls. Looking to fight through that trouble and get his first 2. In the season opener against FAU, the Lobos started 5 newcomers in Mashburn House, J. Allen Tovar, Taryn Todd, and Seck, who just scored.
I like the spirited effort here. House able to draw the offensive foul, moving the feet there well. Let's go back to that 2-man game. Here's Acott with that little misdirection action, and off the bounce with the left hand just throws a strike to Degenhardt, who's in rhythm for that catch-and-shoot three-pointer.
Degenhardt was described to us this week as a 1 + 1 = 3 guy. What did Leon Rice mean by that, Lev?
Boy, I guess he can do a lot of things. That's a positive.
Either that or coach's math is just as bad as ours.
Interchangeable. Versatility.
KJ Jenkins stepped on the sideline. He's coming off 26 points, matching his JUCO career high. Shaver gets the post entry. Key jab couldn't score it, but the Broncos will keep it. 13 to shoot.
Again, alert and aggressive, a spirited effort here by New Mexico. Fans are not happy with that call.
or lack thereof. They wanted an offensive rebounding foul on Kejab, who'll get a breather here. A returning all-conference player, now in his third full season in uniform for the Broncos after starting in Eugene with Dana Altman. They do reset the shot clock up to 30 on the restart for the Broncos. Najee Smith working with Armish on the block. Short clock for Rice. Had to hoist. Armish battling for an extra possession. Extra pass to Akins. Now Smith. Finally a Broncos bucket. It took 4 cracks at it, but they come away with 2.
Yeah, like volleyball players at the net, we're seeing the length, size advantage of Boise State playing a factor here in the first half.
They've out-rebounded their last 12 opponents and 13 of 15 overall this season.
It's a nice mix. There's some ruggedness, some length, some size, and quickness.
J. Allen Tovar with the answer. They're going to need him to be an undersized 5 with where they are as a roster in Albuquerque.
Nice straight line drive there. No wasted movement. Straight to the rim for the bucket.
Armish with the baseline spin and one too many. As we step aside with the Broncos by 2. On the offensive glass, Najee Smith, a senior from Spokane. Answered by J. Allen Tovar, the Lobos. Monday, Fox Sports is proud to present a celebration of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. with a college basketball doubleheader. First, it's a top 25 matchup. Number 7 Purdue clashing with Big Ten rival number 25 Illinois. Then a historic occasion for the site of Dr. King's I Have a Dream speech, Washington, D.C., as Notre Dame pays a visit to the campus of Howard University. It all begins at noon Eastern, exclusively on Fox. And Lav, I know you're traveling out for this occasion.
Yeah, looking forward, honored to participate.
Taking a look at the Howard Bison, they're actually in a 2-point game right now with Norfolk State. It's also researching a bit on their head coach, Kenneth Blakeney. What a fascinating story. Raised in D.C., played for Hall of Famer Morgan Wooten, went to Duke, a couple of titles with Coach K, eventually Tommy Amaker's staff at Harvard. Here are the mighty Bison, their top 5 individuals.
Yeah, well, you see the balance, nearly 5 players in double figures, makes them more difficult to prepare for and even more challenging to play against.
As for our game here at the Pit, if there was a very clear advantage in this matchup between the Broncos and the Lobos, it was inside, the interior, the size advantage for Boise State, and through 2 segments, the statistics reflect that advantage.
That's what Boise does. They can pound the glass, they're aggressive, they attack the paint. Exclusively man-to-man defense. They check well on the boards.
Saquon Singleton back in, trying to turn the corner on Armush and step down the end line. By the way, Lav, I borrowed from your patented timeout going to commercial break without checking with you to see what the going rate is on that. How much do I owe you?
Well, it's okay because I borrowed it from Brent Musburger.
Okay.
A former mentor in the broadcast business. So it's really all about Brent. We'll check on the royalties later.
Najee Smith with his back to the basket. Couldn't cash in. There's a chance to run out for Jalen House.
You see the jets there, the beep-beep roadrunner speed of Jalen House.
They're asking him to be more of a quarterback for their team.
Yeah, get them into their sets. Make those judgments or choices in terms of when to push the ball and when to get the team organized.
Aladdin Armush denied by J. Allen Tovar, who is top 6 in the conference in block shots.
J. Allen Tovar has been productive here with his minutes. Seeing the versatility, his skill set on display.
He's already knocked down 1 triple and rattles home another.
Again, good looks for the Lobos. They've been on point offensively and holding their own here defensively.
Shaver from the elbow. That should settle things down for Boise State.
Well, what a stop and pop. You know, the ability to penetrate, but then slam on the brakes, gather, and knock one down at the elbow, the mid-range. Everyone gets a touch. Some screening, ball movement, man movement, purposeful use of the bounce.
It's a nice take by Jenkins. The intention was to set up Singleton. Instead, turns it over. Well, these are the types of efforts from maybe unknown or unlikely sources you're going to need to upset the like of Boise State at your place.
Yeah, Jay Allen Tovar there at the rim providing resistance, and then here off the handoff, able to tickle the twine from the deep corner. Going to get an opportunity to catch his breath, but expect him to be back in soon.
He's already made his first 3 shots to exceed his season scoring average midway point of the first half. Albuquerque is back for the Broncos. Between the legs a couple of times.
Good defense there. Leveling off dribble penetration.
Rice coughs it up. Rice scored a career-high 22 against New Mexico last year.
The man-to-man defense that we've seen in the first half by the Lobos impressive. They're not allowing Boise State to turn the corner or get angles off the dribble. Instead, leveling it off, forcing them to go east-west, sideline to sideline, but not north-south. So no attacks on the rim, and therefore there's less rotations defensively. And keep your shell, the integrity of your shell defensively in place.
Marcus Shaver Jr., 40% from distance.
And Shaver working well without the ball there for that catch. Lock and load opportunity.
Now the steal. With Mashburn back, Degenhart on the dish. Nice defensive recovery from Mashburn and the Lobos. A nice ovation from the pit.
We're seeing Boise State with some quick ball movement and ball reversal. Kind of an awkward drive, going to be a travel.
You said Shaver was hunting this three-point opportunity left.
Yeah, Shaver under the basket there, working well without the basketball, using teammates as screeners, just enough daylight to lock it, load it, and tickle the twine.
7:50 to go first half. Boise State by 4 left.
Yeah, let's look at let's clear the screen here. Let's see if we can get this. Well, what I wanted to show, and it's not working, is a 3-man game between Rice, who has the ball out top, Smith, who's going to set the screen there, and then Shaver coming off, gets even a second screen as well to clean it up and allow that catch and shoot opportunity. And then I'll have to warm up here on my telestration skills as we go along in the game.
Well, the Broncos have warmed up their season on the strength of that chemistry, haven't they, Lab? I mean, the 3 and 4 start that we mentioned was described as rock bottom. They made some changes to their roster. They brought Degenhart into a more prominent role in their rotation, and they've been sharing the opportunities in a way that's led to this 8-game winning streak.
Yeah, really impressive. I mean, dramatic difference in those numbers, and that's what defense will do. It serves as a catalyst for your offense, because a string of shutouts or stops defensively allow you to get those runouts where you can play in transition and get easier looks at the basket, higher percentage looks.
Played themselves into the NCAA tournament field if we were to draw up the brackets today. KJ Jenkins able to get Shaver lifted and to the foul line. That's his second personal. Jenkins, the only player in the Mountain West Conference to score 100 or more points this season without making a start. He leads New Mexico in made threes. Also a 91% free throw shooter.
I like the foot speed of this New Mexico team. They're quick, good feet. There's skill on display as well.
How about Forsling?
Sweden going to work.
Has some youth national team experience. Also played in the Swedish Basketligan. I think that's the pronunciation, Lav. I know you're up late at night watching a lot of those games abroad.
Absolutely. Satellite.
Najee Smith at the other end.
Well, again, second shots, high percentage putbacks, and in tight, high percentage looks such as that.
Seven-minute mark, it's a one-possession game, and that's Mashburn on the knockdown.
This is an impressive first half for New Mexico, and in particular when you look at being shorthanded, depleted roster, Coach Pitino just returning after that two-game absence. Now, they've been on point, and that's a credit to the staff and this group of young players.
Still trying to get Emmanuel Acott started at the offensive end. He missed his first 3 shots, including that attempt. Kaysen Pryor into the game for the first time for Leon Rice. Najee Smith among the group leaving. Chance for the Lobos to take the lead as we approach the 6-minute mark.
Elbow entry for New Mexico. Now you see how they space the floor. No one inside the three-point line. Then they'll establish a post presence.
The size of Acott there defensively, bothering Mashburn on the between-the-legs pull-up. Only the 5th appearance of the season for Kaysen Pryor, who brought it up there for the Broncos. Leon Rice going deep into his rotation in this opening half. Now Pryor will hoist. Armouche back to the perimeter. Extra pass, Rice.
Some good judgments and choices. The kick out by Armouche off an offensive rebound. Great opportunity to explore the 3 and late clock. A launch.
So it's the defensive prowess of Boise State that we began the night with, but New Mexico draws a shot clock violation there.
Yeah, and clock awareness is what Leon Rice will discuss with his team.
Only scheduled game between these Mountain West foes in 2022. Aaron Rodgers or Tom Brady for MVP, Lav?
I'm going Tom Brady.
There's no wrong answers there.
A bit biased with my Northern California upbringing. And of course, Tom Brady grew up in the Bay Area and really patterned his style of play after Joe Montana.
J. Allen Tovar's had a great start, but he misses from distance there. Acott just bowls over the defender, and we're going the other way. Saquon Singleton, the senior captain.
Well, another example of the alertness, the aggressiveness, the intelligent play. Singleton, they're able to keep the feet moving and get that chest in position to take it right on the sternum. And offensive foul.
Speaking of that sternum, Singleton's yet another example of some of the adversity that New Mexico has overcome. Saquon Singleton just returned November 25th after missing 8 weeks with a heart abnormality discovered while he was being examined for another illness.
Well, we've had a couple UFOs, flying saucers here in New Mexico in this first half, and it's at both ends of the court.
You're talking about Aaron shots, right, Lav? Just to make sure we're on the same page. Allen Tovar with another block at the defensive end.
And it happens to the best. If you've played the game long enough, there's going to be times where you shoot an air ball. Here's the take. The resistance at the rim.
I think if J. Allen Tovar had his way, his team would wear these turquoise uniforms every time out.
Almost Miami Dolphins.
Back in December, he also had a 9-point performance against Denver wearing these kits. It's been phenomenal in this first half.
It's an interesting look.
Marcus Shavers Jr. using the pivot foot to set up Rice. He has not shot it as well from three as he did as a freshman and sophomore. That's yet to come on. On the reload, Shaver bottoms.
Shaver has been on fire of late, picking up from where he left off earlier this week, torching the nets. An intelligent approach by the Broncos to find that hot hand and milk it. A little NBA flavor there. Why not? Go back to him.
Ashburn to House. Drops it off to Tovar. Now House. He wanted the whistle on the three-point attempt. Transition opportunity for Degenhardt. What a recovery for Saquon Singleton.
Singleton using that length. Well, Shaver feeling it. Tight handles, good footwork, able to separate. Bottoms.
Lobos looking for their first conference win, staying connected with Boise State, thanks in large part to the efforts of J. Allen Tovar.
Yeah, J. Allen Tovar, JB, under control. I like the pace he plays at, not in a rush. Here, the nice drive and gathering off at 2 feet, puts it down off the backboard, getting involved defensively, using his length, walling up, not fouling. And again, good rotation and pronation there in the wrist, which leads to that excellent rotation on his shot. And there's a poise, almost an old man's game in his approach, not in a hurry. There's that old phrase, be quick but don't hurry, that John Wooden often used. And it allows you to see the game when you're not in a rush, not in a hurry, and make better judgments accordingly.
Meantime, Boise State only shooting 36% from the floor, and that's before that Shaver effort went begging. But they have hit the offensive glass. There's a chance to build on a 4-point edge.
Here's that two-man game. Shaver.
Quick to the cup. Armus trying to clean up. Pounds it into the floor. Blocked again. And finally a whistle to send Marcus Shaver to the line.
Well, it begins and ends with Shaver, smallest player on the floor, diminutive in size, but a big game. And interestingly, he had struggles earlier in the year, and that was really emblematic of the slow start that Boise State has had. But as Shaver has started to catch fire, coinciding with that was the Broncos' run of 8 straight wins. So he's the quarterback, the catalyst of what the Broncos do offensively.
Most recently, they got back on the floor Wednesday at Reno following a 15-day COVID-related layoff. Looked sharp, looked fresh. An 85-70 win. Acott and Shaver combined for 51 in that game, and it was their first victory at Nevada since 2016. Leon Rice called that a training staff and administration win, not just players and coaches.
Well, I love that, spreading the wealth in terms of what it takes to have a successful program. And Leon Rice understands that. 12 years here, and the great run at Gonzaga as an assistant, so he understands establishing culture and all the little things that go into building that successful program.
Boise State, despite making just one of its last 9 shots, creating some separation now before the half. So let's take a closer look at what Marcus Shaver Jr. and the Broncos have done.
Well, he's got the beeper speed. Here you see the handles, and then able to stop and pop. Working well without the basketball, coming off of his teammates who set good screens. Realizing he has that hot hand, and again, that ability to separate with the handles and footwork and just enough space between himself and the defender to get the shot off.
He's got 10 to lead the way. Degenhardt, with the most recent hoop, has 7 in a supporting role. Broncos looking to extend their winning streak to 9 games and get off to a 3-0 start in conference. 8 unanswered for the visitors, and it's a 4-minute scoring drought for the Lobos.
I think it was a good timeout by Richard Pitino as well. Not wanting this game to get away. Organize his team for a good look.
Ashburn is good from the mid-range, but not on this trip. Rice off the block, out to Smith. Good offense from the Broncos.
Rice with that kick out. Inside-outside basketball. When you put it down low and you force defenses to collapse, now the quality of your three-point shots are greatly enhanced. And when you get better looks at the basket, you shoot a higher percentage over the course of a game or season.
Now 4 of 11 from behind the arc are the visitors. House creating contact. Could not convert, and he'll try to settle things down at the free throw line. Stay tuned for the halftime reports. My friend Mike Hill is in studio with highlights from around the nation and a preview of Georgetown St. John's. That's coming up tomorrow. Halftime report with Mike Hill, 1:46 away. A rare miss at the stripe for Jalen House, who has 2 30-point games to his credit already this season.
Well, it's in the DNA, JB. Of course, his father, Eddie House, the legendary Arizona State Sun Devil. In fact, Eddie House is from the Bay Area, Northern California as well. He lit up some of our UCLA teams.
Smith from Acott in transition as the Broncos score off a missed free throw.
Now, even there in transition, you see that willingness to give the ball up to get a better shot at the basket. And that's what Coach Rice has been so pleased with this year when it comes to sharing the basketball.
It's been more than 5 minutes since the Lobos have scored. Had to have it. K.J. Jenkins.
Good delivery by Jalen House. Right into the wheelhouse.
Armour's down the lane. And Boise State will keep it. 18 on the timer. Alan Tovar lost a shoe.
Now that's, again, that precise delivery into Jenkins' shooting pocket. That allows him to take it right up. If that pass is at your shoelaces or up too high, if you have to move to try and catch it, now the defense closes out, takes away airspace, and you don't have an open look.
It took all that, as Lab describes, to get Jenkins his first bucket of this Saturday contest.
There's a phrase, JB, passer makes a shooter. And it's not completely true, because there's a gift. Certain shooters just have a natural talent or feel that it goes a long way if I give you a good pass to increasing your shooting percentage.
So another shot clock violation and a stop for New Mexico. 9 seconds separating game and shot clock here. The Lobos were originally scheduled to take on San Diego State today. That had to be postponed. So this game bumped up from February the 8th.
Lobos looking to finish on a high note, put a little pep in their step as they run to the locker room. And of course, Boise State wants to keep it double digits to get a stop or a shutout here.
House with 2, stepping back, leaning in. Trying to get through Acott, and the final 7.3 belongs to Boise State.
A good defensive discipline. New Mexico maybe, in hindsight, would have started their offense a little sooner, so you get a better look at the basket. You still got a chance to tip it in. But Lobos in good hands with Richard Pitino at the helm. Drawing on the experience at Minnesota, growing up in a coaching family, being around basketball his entire life.
Acott misses that shot, and he goes 0 for the half. 0 for 4 for the 6'8" point guard, and yet Boise State up double digits left.
And that shows the balance of size, strength, skill, and quickness, of the depth of this Boise State team as well. And they can beat you in a number of ways.
House at the horn, made it close, but that'll do it for our first 20 minutes at the pit in Albuquerque. Take a look at our leading scores before we send it to the studio. Shaver Jr. with 10 to lead the way for Boise State. J. Allen Tovar off the bench for the Lobos of New Mexico. We've reached halftime here in Albuquerque. Invite you to stay tuned for the halftime report with Mike Hill. Next, College Hoops on FS1. Boise State senior Najee Smith putting together a nice week. Midweek, he had 11 points in a win at Nevada, 9 first-half points in Albuquerque today.
Well, JB, it's been about sharing the sugar. Key jab to Degenhardt underneath, and Acott to Armouche with the nice touch inside. And Degenhardt, again, from the top of the floor down to Smith. A nice little gather, takes his time, sees the daylight, the reverse layup, and Rice with a nice low post kick out to Shaver. And when we talked to Leon Rice yesterday, he spoke about this team being the most selfless of any team he's coached during his tenure at Boise State. And the numbers reflect that. 12 field goals on 10 assists. Wow.
Now leveraging their strength on the glass and in the paint, their size advantage playing out. Even though they didn't shoot it particularly well, only 38% from the floor. We're at the pit in Albuquerque, Mountain West basketball on FS1. It's a competitive half most of the way. Boise State leading throughout. They went on a 12-0 burst to build their largest advantage of the game here at the half. With Steve Lavin, JB Long, Boise State looking for a 9th consecutive win. The Lobos trying to defend the pit and get in the win column in the Mountain West. Only scheduled meeting of the regular season between these programs. The Lobos were supposed to take on San Diego State, but that game had to be postponed. Boise State has already had 3 conference games postponed, so they said, we'll be there. Let's get after it. Down low to Tyson Degenhardt to begin a new half. He's blocked. Javante Johnson got a piece. Extra pass, perimeter. Shaver can't hit it. But tracks down his own. Degenhardt rocks into a triple. Plenty of opportunity for the Broncos, and will stay at this end.
We're seeing the size, length, and the strength of Boise State. New Mexico providing some resistance, working hard, but just from a physical stature standpoint, nice look.
Another rejection, Sebastian Forsling.
Forsling has been impressive in stretches here for New Mexico.
Now screening to try and spring house. Good vision to spot Jenkins. Relocation 3 off the mark. Fight to the board, claimed by Acott.
Now, first 5 minutes gives you an indication of what was emphasized in the locker room for the respective teams. And Boise trying to go down low here early to attack the rim.
Armouche taking on the 7-foot freshman. Another second chance opportunity for Boise State. They go right back to him. Maladin Armouche cannot score it. Credit Forsling with holding his ground.
Yeah, really walling up effectively. And without fouling.
House takes the contact. No whistle. Patino can't believe it.
Definitely contact on that play. Officials chose to no call.
I think the pit saying ball don't lie on that turnover from Boise State.
Forsling here earlier looked like he put his hand through the net inside the circumference of the rim. That should be a goaltending.
Great camera work by our team. The Lobos get away with it. Still looking for the first points of the second half. 2 minutes in. And not for KJ Jenkins.
It's Forsling again with the offensive rebound and kick out. Now he's going to come set an on-ball screen at the top of the floor.
House tried to split it, deflected into the backcourt, so he's good to go with 10 to shoot. And Shaver defending. With 3. Jenkins. Couldn't hit it. Pulled down by Shaver on the defensive glass.
And good defense there by the Broncos. Contested shot.
Into Acott. That's a tough catch. Great gather. Everything but the bucket. Broncos continuing to hit the offensive glass.
Really making a concerted effort also to put the ball down low. Not settling for jump shots, but instead taking it to the cup. Good finish off the window by Acott. That's that versatility. We've seen him on the perimeter, playmaking over the top with his size in terms of delivering passes. And there, the back down dribble, NBA style, gathers and puts it down off the window.
Mashburn has it roll off, and it goes back to Boise State with a 12-point lead. So Boise State, 32 rebounds. New Mexico, 22 points. There's lots of stories we can tell, but you don't need much more than this one so far.
Doing the work. Arnouche, he looks gassed. Rehydrate him. Catch his breath. Braveheart, a warrior.
Ashay Smith onto the floor to replace him in the Boise State lineup. House never runs out of gas, but he did slip there and travel.
I like the idea. It's a nice change of pace and change of direction, but when maneuvering at that speed, got to be able to put the brakes on and stop on the dime. I'll have to do a sneaker check on his soles.
Rice in for Acott for the Broncos. Key-jab flashing the ball. A foul on the floor as he made his move to the baseline. It goes against the Lobos. And Mashburn defending.
Again, the same look. Again, at halftime, what's emphasized by the respective coaching staffs. And the Broncos are just going to continue to pound the ball inside. Kind of a smash mouth approach to basketball. Here's a drive, another attack on the rim.
Smith comes to a jump stop in the lane.
Good defense by the Lobos.
Now House trying to capitalize. Found Mashburn. Yes!
Jalen House, dynamic. Electrifying at the speed to put it on the deck and make plays where he is in the passing lane as well. Just has been alert and aggressive.
So only a field goal each way through 4 minutes of our second half.
Well, House here looking for his partner Mashburn. Throws a strike. Timeout.
Well, here at the pit, Boise State leading New Mexico, and after missing his first 5, this is what Emmanuel Acott did to get his first 2.
Yeah, clear aside, well devised, and NBA style, using the back down bounce, and then squares his feet and shoots the old school jump hook off the window. Impressive. Well devised, and of course, Acott in terms of personnel, ideal for taking advantage of that matchup.
Hey, the Broncos just hammering the glass, doubling up the Lobos in terms of rebounding to overcome 31% shooting from the floor.
And on that play, JP, Kuzmanovic gives away 3 inches, so that's that matchup advantage. How about the take by Jalen House? That's that beat beeper road runner, pushing it straight down the middle of the floor, what we call Main Street, and they're maneuvering at a pace where he could either play make if the defense came, and if it opens as it did, why not? Lay it up.
Key-jab sends it back to the perimeter, and the refeed from Dagenhart. Midway point of the shot clock, gets deep. Nice rotation from the Broncos. Smith decided to turn down the 3, so now with single digits on the timer. Shaver from Santa Fe. Couldn't hit it. Scramble for the offensive rebound, won by Key-jab, and that may be the reason they win this game.
No doubt. Those are high percentage looks, and Key-jab just positions himself well under the rim and able to use some scrap and fight to pick up the loose ball.
Mashburn so quick with that dribble, like his backcourt mate House. A giveaway. Numbers for the Broncos. Boise State on the run out and to the free throw line.
key jab again. Like that he takes a few more steps toward the rim, doesn't settle, and as a result picks up the foul.
Leon Rice told us a cool story about the chemistry that played out in Nevada and this group coming off a 15-day layoff. It was actually this man, Kijab, who was coming to the scorer's table set to sub in for Acott. And he and his head coach were kind of watching the action, and Acott was giving an indication like he wanted to play through. And so Kijab said, you know what, I'll wait. And he comes back to the bench, and that's right at the point where Acott and the Broncos kind of take off and go on a big run. So this transfer from Oregon, Abu Kijab willing to put himself second for the betterment of the team.
Well, that's a specific story, an example of what it means when a coach says we're tied together or there's a cohesiveness. And it makes it more three-dimensional, relevant, or real when the coach can share a story, have that as an example. When that's in play, you're going to have a special season as long as your personnel is at a level that allows you to compete.
Do you call anyone at UCLA or St. John's as Hess gets back to her, coming back from the scorer's table and saying, no, coach, I'm good?
Actually, Cameron Dollar asked me to take him out of the starting lineup. And he was struggling some offensively early the season, 1996-97. And he eventually returned to the starting lineup in conference play. We won the Pac-10 championship at the time by 3 games. But that's an example of a selfless player. And, of course, Cameron Dollar was on the national championship team in '95 as well.
Since we were talking through it, let's revisit the nice pass here in the half court for New Mexico.
Yeah, well, they lift Boise State's defense. Everyone is above the foul line. And when you do that, now you create some foot race opportunities where New Mexico's speed and quickness can pay off and be a difference on that backdoor pass as an example.
Now look what the Broncos have done defensively to turn their season around since a 3-4 start. They've rattled off 8 in a row. Enduring, like so many teams across college basketball, have multiple weeks off the court due to COVID protocols. Smith on the skip. What a find. The passing that you illustrated at halftime, apparent again here in the second.
Well, early Boise State really attacks the paint. We saw that first 5 minutes of the half. They established the lane, and here comes Boise with the defense.
He got the assist. Now he gets the transition flush.
Yeah, defense creates offense. And while we show those defensive numbers, it's the offense over this 8-game stretch that also has been a difference maker.
The Lobos had made 3 straight shots before that misfire from House. Ajay Smith, great catch in transition. Armouche gathers and gets to the line.
Yeah, the tall trees, the strength. It's a stout Boise State team, and yet they also have complementary pieces with foot speed, athleticism, and quickness. Boy, an excellent pass cross court. That skip pass is there for the open 3.
It's the 3rd assist of the evening for Emmanuel Acott. It's only 4 points, and yet still creating in the half court for his teammates. For all the good that Armouche does for the Broncos, this is an area where he really struggles, sub 40% from the line. He's been in college basketball since 2017, spent a couple of seasons at East Tennessee State, then a redshirt year at Boise, now in his 2nd year on the court.
He's built like a Mack truck. So the ability for him to carve out space down low is a difference for Boise State.
Referee John Higgins, Kevin Grill, Kelly Pfeiffer with us today. That was the last touch by the Lobos. Yeah, went off the heel of J. Allen Tovar trying to block out.
New Mexico needs to stay with their game plan, stay aggressive, but they can't afford JB to turn it over, take some quick shots, because Boise State will go on a run, and next thing you know, it's haymaker time, and you're getting blitzed.
What a take, and another trip to the line. Marcus Shaver Jr. pressing the issue here.
Aggressive with his bounce, turns down the ball screen and pushes it with the left hand. Good control in midair in terms of body control, and picks up the foul.
Been a tough free throw shooting night both ways for the Broncos and Lobos. I think your point's well taken. The margin of error for New Mexico now has shrunk. They're struggling to score. Boise State's got a defensive reputation, and we're approaching the 12-minute mark.
Yeah, you're down 13. You know, you don't need to panic. Get good looks and chip away at this deficit. You begin by getting it under double digits.
Mashburn denies. Aycott leads the break. Pretty pass to Smith. Lobos dodge one for now, but the Broncos will get it back.
You see Boise State, they rotate very well and build those walls in the basket area. That's where verticality, arms straight up, in good position, and stay between your opponent and the basket. Build the wall. That's why it's called defense. The fence. Build the fence.
Never thought of it that way. You always refresh my view on the game, Lav. It's been too long.
Well, you forced me to step my game up. You raise the bar.
Shaver feeding Armouche. And one. Malott and Armouche.
I like it. Almost an NBA continuation. I'd like to see more of that in college basketball. More entertaining, higher scores, and Shaver there with an excellent delivery off the bounce to Armouche. Big fella stepping to the line. Chance for an old-fashioned three-point play. He really does look like a lumberjack. Paul Bunyan-like.
A travel on the rebounds. You can feel the frustration for all the Lobos here. They thought there should have been a foul.
They're some of the greatest fans in college basketball here at New Mexico at the Pit. What a venue. I love the emotion. They're engaged, they care, they're passionate. And Coach Pitino mentioned that. The fans and the rabid following of the Lobos is why he took the job.
Armouche again on the roll. He owes Emmanuel Aycott an assist, doesn't he, Lav?
No doubt.
Still 7 unanswered for the Broncos. Can the Lobos make a push?
Even on that miss is an example of Boise State playing in pairs or a tandem, two-man game, like a dance, but on the basketball floor.
Boise State has expanded its lead by 5 since the half. On the road here in Albuquerque, looking to start Mountain West play 3-0. Najee Smith coming off the bench with some more good minutes.
Yeah, productive down low. I like to gather and then maneuvering to daylight, yet not putting the ball on the floor for that reverse layup. And the recipient of Rice's pass on the inside-outside, lifted one to the clouds, nothing but net. And here in the break, kind of an old school, old-fashioned, just put it down off the square for the layup, and the catch and shoot opportunities coming off an 11-point performance against Nevada earlier this week and picking up where he left off, still feeling it, and it's got the hot hand, JB.
Yeah, Lav, he played AAU with fellow Bronco Max Rice, son of the head coach for Washington Supreme. So they go back to their Spokane days, like so much of this Boise State run under Leon Rice does.
Yeah, relationships, the 6 degrees of basketball so often play a part in what makes the sport so unique and special.
Of course, Spokane, home to Gonzaga, which is where Leon Rice kind of grows off the tree that's been so fruitful in college basketball.
Boy, one of the best coaching trees. I mean, you go way back to Dan Fitzgerald, who hired Dan Munson, and then Mark Few and Billy Greer, and obviously Leon Rice, but Ray Giacoletti, Tommy Lloyd.
Doing great work at Arizona in his first season.
Yeah, just outstanding coaches. And they understand every aspect: recruiting, motivation, creativity, offensively. and building rapport and relationships with young people. Big fella going to work, the Swede.
Now let's see if that bounce can spark Sebastian Forsling and the Lobos.
I like Forsling's potential.
You could see why the potential led Pitino and the Lobos to think about redshirting him on his arrival in Albuquerque, but no such luxury this season. Now there's Rice.
Baptism by fire.
Creating for Acots. There's the rebound KJ Jenkins and the Lobos needed after a defensive stop.
I like Jenkins there rallying to the boards. Gang tackling, gang rebounding. Don't assume the bigs are going to get it. Get back in there and help.
J. Allen Tovar gets the home roll.
Tovar held that follow through. We mentioned pronation in the wrist earlier in the broadcast, but also holding the follow through is critical. Like reaching in the cookie jar in your youth.
He's got 11 points to lead the Lobos. Some big bench minutes for J. Allen Tovar. Back within 10. Trying to dig in defensively as Shaver. No look to Smith. Oh, look at Rice sneaking in for the putback two.
Yeah, got to find a body. Check out on the boards. That all started with some dribble penetration.
Allen Tovar against Smith, all the way to the block. Contested and boarded. Mladen Armush. Shaver fires down low. Shot fake. Bucket. And a free throw to follow for Najee Smith.
Love this, JB. Najee Smith goes straight to the basket. So often players will run the floor, then run to the block or the short corner. As we take a look at the offensive rebound by Rice and the put down. And this is what I like. Smith underneath the basket, little pump fake, and puts it down off the window. Again, that old school game, an old soul on the floor as a basketball player. Not flashy, just getting it done. Functional, a little bit of a lunch pail hard hat approach. I like it.
Broncos only 5 of 12 at the stripe, but still with a comfortable lead. Midway point second half. Mashburn able to squeeze through and finish. Jamal Mashburn Jr.
Yeah, maneuvering well off the bounce, looking for a seam, an alleyway to the basket. And that was an example of maneuvering but not forcing a shot if it's not there.
Well, two-man game here between Kijab and Acots. Smith gets a three. Lab, the Broncos have more offensive rebounds than the Lobos do defensive rebounds. Now, I don't have the best research between the years, but I would imagine there's not very good winning odds for a team that gets outboarded on its defensive glass.
No doubt. We'll have to delve into that on the other side of the break, JB, because we have a timeout. Of course, Boogie Ellis, a playmaker, shot maker deluxe. Drew Peterson, a 6'8", very crafty at the mid-range, whether it's scoring or distributing the ball. He's 6'8", so Andy Enfield's got his Trojans headed in the right direction. Another outstanding season.
Here at the pit, a low-scoring affair in the Mountain West. Boise State looking for a 9th consecutive win. New Mexico trying to win for the first time in conference. Saquon Singleton, and made a miss defensively. Tyson Dagenhart getting it done.
I like the idea coming out of the timeout, drawn up well devised, the right personnel, but that was a forced shot.
Here's Shaver, turning the corner. That's a key jab. 12 to shoot as he walks his man down. Seeing two defenders, spots Emmanuel Acots, slashing to the rim and to the free throw line.
What really jumps out with this Boise State Bronco team is they share the basketball, they look for one another, and they play with a purpose, a degree of intelligence in terms of continuing to attack the rim, put pressure on defense, pressure on the officials to make calls, and as a result, you get high percentage looks, and you get yourself to the free throw line. And those are two critical elements if you want to win in basketball.
That's a good point, Lav. 9 Broncos have played, 8 have scored, 8 have assisted on made field goals. So it's coming from all sources. And look, they're used to being road warriors. They have built a reputation in this conference for going on the road and getting tough wins. They're in a stretch of 4 of 5 games away from home. They've won 37 Mountain West road games since joining the league in 2011 and 12, tied for second most over that span.
And they're a program that has the ability to stay old. And Wisconsin, in the Big Ten through the years, Villanova, that phrase, stay old, pays dividends.
Shaver behind the back. Touch pass from the Broncos. Acott checks his toes. We're at the 8-minute mark. Broncos in firm control. Albuquerque able to cash in the lane.
Kijab really took his time there. Shaver with a nice curl cut. Didn't receive the ball. He continued out to give space for Kijab to go to work down low in that isolation.
Broncos now doubling up the Lobos. Points in the paint. After getting the bucket, now he takes the charge. 5th year in college basketball, Albuquerque with some help from Emmanuel Acott trying to ice another road win. All right, here's a good look at how Kijab and Acott combine in the backcourt to really leverage their size against an opponent.
Yeah, no doubt. Here's the catch from Kijab, who'd already given the ball up. He gets rewarded by getting it back. And then roll the tape some here. You're going to see some great action. Here's the cut by Shaver. And there's a look at a potential flare screen over there as well. And that allows Kijab to go to work in isolation, because away from the ball, the Broncos are engaging the defense with their screening and their movement. And I think Shaver's choice to cut to the basket, keep the defense honest, but then clear back out and allow for that time and space for Kijab to go to work. And that's an example of a team working in concert with one another to help one another and ultimately get a high percentage look, winning basketball.
They have led for all but about a minute of this contest, and Albuquerque at the picks. Boise State looking to start 3-0 at Mountain West play. Dagan Hart had it blocked. Let's see if New Mexico has a run. That's a good place to start. Clean look for Jenkins. Couldn't hit it.
Yeah, Coach Pitino will live with that. You want those fly patterns, fill the corners, flatten the defense, and get an open look, take it.
Here they go again with Kijab backing down his man and forcing his way to the foul line. I mentioned the run of rebounding that the Broncos are on. They've out-rebounded their last 12, soon to be 13. A season high in terms of rebounding, and 23 of those have come on the offensive board.
Rebounding is the equivalent to controlling the offensive line or controlling the defensive line, the line of scrimmage. That's what the play in the paint is in basketball. And we know how important controlling the line of scrimmage is.
Well, that's how you overcome 34% shooting from the floor, 26 from the arc, and 44 from the foul line on the road in conference. They have a rebounding margin like that.
Yeah, and they came in with an idea of where their advantage is.
Jenkins wasn't about to miss another clean shot.
I like an early offense, quick hitter. Plenty of time. You see the Broncos here use a little bit of clock, but they want to stay aggressive.
Oh, Shaver pouring it in.
Boy, he has been on fire. Torching the Nets. This game's just another of many that he's put together. And there's good judgments. He's not forcing. He's sharing the basketball when guarded, when open, going to work.
Ashburn cannot answer. One and done for the Lobos. 6 minutes to go. Boise State with the lead and the ball.
And even here, they're going to walk the ball up the floor. They're going to use some clock, play with purpose, but keep your aggressiveness. Now they're bringing Shaver off single-double screens, starting down low. We saw that alignment early in the first half.
Four left for Kijab. 2 feet in the lane, falling away. Now took 30 seconds, but New Mexico does get the stop they needed. Now House. Splash.
Going to get a timeout here. Richard Pitino is, and wouldn't be surprised if they don't come out in a full court press. Maybe mix their defenses some, try and force some turnovers and create some pace or tempo that's favorable for New Mexico.
I want to revisit this 25-footer.
Yeah, just the footwork, the handles, and really has a knack for creating some separation between himself and defenders so he can get those shots off. Shows he has the Emerald City green light as well, and that's a bright green light from Coach Leon Rice. He trusts Shaver in terms of his decisions to run the team, but also look for his shot. He's capable of both shot making and playmaking, JB. Very capable.
Yeah, pretty cool connection going back to their prep days with Jalen House on the opposing roster, both by way of Shadow Mountain High School. Shaver's now a redshirt senior, a sit-out transfer from Portland where he earned honorable mention all WCC honors.
And Mike Bibby went to Shadow Mountain High School, former Arizona Wildcat, won a national title in '97, played in the NBA for years, Sacramento Kings, among other teams. And also my teammate at Chapman College, John King, still lives in Phoenix, 30 years in law enforcement, recently retired, but he's a Shadow Mountain legend as well.
Acots. Contested two, misfires. Here is House with the basketball, trying to trim the deficit.
I got to take care of my teammates from back in the day, JB.
That was nicely dropped by you, lad. And House to Jenkins, who drops in three more.
Well, that's where the three-point shot has changed the game of basketball. What used to be deficits that you were unable to come back from, now you've got a shot with the three-point shot.
Shaver had deflected. House to steal. Tough to get it ahead. But now he attacks the baseline. Using the pivot foot and some English, it won't fall. That would have been huge.
And a good idea. Tried to take from one side of the rim to the other, to use his body to shield the defender. That reverse layup just didn't go down.
Now the Broncos with a double-digit lead can lean on the shot clock a little bit. Take this down to single digits. And they bring the whistle. They're in the double bonus when we come back. House and Jenkins try and keep the Lobos in it here at the pit.
Boy, a little shake and bake. Jenkins feeling it. Why not?
All right, welcome back to Albuquerque to the pit. Boise State plus 11 against New Mexico, and that split screen there showing you the tale we just delivered with the high school connection between Marcus Shaver Jr. and Jalen House, and a pretty famous head coach there with the hand on the basketball lap.
With Mike Bibby with a terrific record in state championships and an excellent coach. And what a program, the heritage and tradition. Here they are today.
Bibby is Jalen House's uncle, grandfather Henry Bibby. Their numbers today. It's been a good duel in the backcourt. Let's take a closer look at what Marcus Shaver has done with 13 points, including 3 made threes.
Yeah, the choices on, when to use the dribble in attack mode, but then give it up and move without the ball for catch and shoot opportunities. And again, you see him move about the ball, and on the catch down low, this ability to separate with the handles and footwork and a pretty shooting stroke. I mean, it's a very efficient shooting stroke with that pocket and the quick release, the quick trigger, like an old gunslinger in the West.
As we come down the home stretch, thanks to our producer, Shirag Davaskar, Tyler Dare, our director, Andrew Wolf, Jason Hurd. With Steve Lavin, I'm JB Long, our great crew on FS1, bringing you this Mountain West affair between Boise State and New Mexico. Also want to thank Steve Kirkland, Mike Walsh, Cody Gogler for their contributions. the 4th team foul there on Boise State, so they've got a couple to give. Meanwhile, New Mexico over the limit. Double bonus the rest of the way for the Broncos. Boise State trying to win a 9th consecutive game and get to 3-0 in league. And it's a great league, the Mountain West. I mean, 5 top 50 in the net, 6 in the top 61. A hesitation move and a bucket for House and a stoppage for Pitino.
Yeah, that change of pace and then putting on the afterburners for the blow-by layup. And now Coach Pitino going to talk about his defense. I would imagine some full court scheme. You got to score the basket to be able to set your press. And that's why it's important to execute offensively. And then Coach Pitino wants to get to a place where he can press more frequently. He's got to pick his spot some here with the shorter bench. Doesn't want to put his team in a disadvantage competitively.
Even if you can't steal it in the backcourt, at least maybe get the Broncos out of their offensive pattern where they're taking deep possessions and they're getting it to their mismatches with their guards backing down smaller defenders.
Well, that's a good point. That's why you can mix your coverages with all out, full court pressure, 3/4 court, or even a half court zone trap, 1-3-1, a number of looks at his disposal. That's why he's the head coach.
I think we've documented it a couple of times, but it bears repeating here. This is a rebuild for the Lobos, and it was that way before the season began and before their front court was decimated. But here they are hitting the reset button again in January. It's going to take more than just this spring to get it done.
No, and in speaking with him yesterday, again, very impressed with his perspective, his maturity, a very reasoned approach to implementing his system and style of play and gradually, incrementally building the program back. 6 wins a season ago. And New Mexico historically a strong program through the years. So he understands he has an arduous task, but he's up for it. He's eager for the climb.
Had only been to Albuquerque once prior to having this opportunity to become the head coach. That was the 2005 Albuquerque Regional. And his father, Rick Pitino, and Louisville took on Beeline and Pittsnogle and that great West Virginia group on their way to a Final Four.
Terrific tradition and heritage in this facility.
House with a free throw to follow.
I like the jump stop, like a cat gathering the feet, and then as a result shooting a higher percentage look. So often a diminutive player, a smaller player will get into traffic and then shoot a low percentage shot.
So there's a 3-point play to bring it back to a 10-point deficit. And as you forecast, Lab, they are picking up, trapping full court. Here's where the size of Aycock can be such an advantage. 6'8", sees right over the top of that double. At the midcourt line, he jabbed between 3 Lobos.
Could have been an over and back.
Boise State's going to scramble, but the Lobos will play the foul game here. And with Boise shooting only 55% from the line, maybe that's the best strategy with the time and score.
I'm impressed with the spirited effort here by the Lobos. They've showed some resiliency, some bounce back, and you're going to need that not only this season, but in terms of building the program from year to year. And that's what Richard Pitino is trying to instill and create in terms of what we call culture.
Sure.
But it's really in the actions and the deeds and the doing. And this is an example of a team that's scrapping and fighting. His father, Rick Pitino, knows about that when he took Kentucky over. And in that first year, really won the hearts and minds of the Kentucky fan base. Even though they weren't eligible for the NCAA tournament, it was the way they played and establishing a pattern. And Boise State's done that now for 12 years. These programs are different places, JB.
Oh, now that they're playing the foul game, they got the missed free throw they needed, but could not secure the defensive rebound, and that's been the theme of the Knights. Another crack at it for Boise State, and that may be the dagger. Marcus Shaver Jr.
How about it? He is at peace with his game, just feeling it.
I agree with the point you're making, though. Even though the score doesn't reflect how competitive New Mexico has been, you can sense that they got their head coach back at practice late this week. After missing a couple of games, due to the COVID issues that we're all navigating, returned to help them prepare for this contest, and they have been locked in even if the results have been lacking at times.
Yeah, even though Richard Pitino has a capable staff that can fill in during his absence, it's not the same as the head coach, who's the thermostat for a program. There's thermometers and there are thermostats. Head coaches are thermostats. They set the temperature for a program. You like that pause there just to draw you in?
I was waiting to see what number you were going to set it at, like your Nets thermostat. What's your preference? You a 73, 74 guy? You like a little bit cooler?
Sunny and 75 degrees is tough to beat here in Southern California.
The Lobos will be at Colorado State next. That's on Wednesday. Mentioned the Broncos taking on the role of road warriors right now in the Mountain West in a stretch of 4 of 5 games away from home. Their only home game between now and January 25th will be Tuesday against Air Force. 5 games in 5 states.
There he is, Leon Rice, one of the best coaches in the country. Enjoys his life in Boise. Quality of life, as he says, is as good as it gets. Loves the university and the community, and is an excellent fit. Sometimes they're just great fits with certain coaches and certain universities. And this is an example. It's why they're so successful year in and year out.
House strokes another 3. He's got 17 to lead the way, to lead 4 Lobos in double figures.
House showing the range, and off the bounce creates the separation. Excellent lift on that shot. Just a gift, a feel for offensive basketball. Jalen House, when to put it on the deck, when to pull up, surveying the floor, and he's only going to get better.
I'll talk about tough schedules. I mean, the Lobos right now are facing the 3 teams out of the Mountain West that are ticketed for the NCAA tournament as it stands. Home to Boise State, at Colorado State, at Wyoming.
It's the gauntlet.
Good luck finding your first league win in this stretch.
And that's why you have to focus on, getting better incrementally and being realistic about playing to your abilities, getting closer to your potential, both individually but as a group. And I think, while no one wants moral victories, they represented well in front of their fans this evening.
This has a chance to be 9 in a row for the Broncos. We'll see how deep they can take their winning streak.
Boy, so impressed. 9 straight. And it's not only the defense, but it's the offense. And it's the manner in which this group plays together. And there are so many coaching cliches, but they truly are a cohesive bunch. Wouldn't want to face them in the first round of the NCAA tournament, or the second round for that matter.
Aycock spinning out of a transition opportunity to burn some more clock. Mashburn gives the foul. That's going to be his 5th. So he's disqualified with 93 seconds remaining. Mashburn done with 10 points on 4 of 12 shooting, a couple of threes. Not many options on that Lobos bench. We'll see where Pitino goes next.
Mashburn, an underclassman, so again, his upside, his ceiling so intriguing. Already productive, delivering as an underclassman, but imagine a year, 2 seasons from now, he'll be dominant. I'm happy to see the Mountain West Conference thriving, the West Coast Conference thriving, other conferences in the Western United States who are positioned well when it comes Selection Sunday to have multiple teams in the NCAA tournament.
So, not to beleaguer the point, but there are 2 more free throw misses by Boise and a back tap to grab a new possession.
Yeah, and those are deflating plays.
25 offensive rebounds for the Broncos. And they're going to get out of Albuquerque with a win despite shooting 13 of 26 at the line.
Well, they have the physicality as we take a look at the Mountain West standings and the outstanding season that the conference is having in terms of representing and making a statement.
And New Mexico is supposed to be playing San Diego State today, so that's on pause for the moment. Nevada Air Force, Colorado State, San Jose State, and Wyoming, Utah State. The other games on this Saturday across the Mountain West. So the Broncos a chance to be the first team with 3 league wins to go to 3-0. It hasn't been an oil painting at times, Lav, but these kind of tug-of-wars are well within Boise State's comfort zone.
Yeah, it's such an interesting contrast of where these respective programs are. A first-year coach in Richard Pitino, a rebuild.
Yes.
And then with Coach Rice, 12th year at Boise State, and has established himself as the dean of the conference as we look at Richard Pitino. And 2 excellent coaches, but just in dramatically different situations.
Sure, not just on the bench, but on the floor, too, right? Big and veteran Broncos, undersized, inexperienced Lobos. And even here in the final minutes, they've been able to trim it back to a single-digit deficit.
He's one of the more positive-minded coaches. When you look at Leon Rice, just has a gift and ability to establish rapport and relationships with young people and with all people for that matter. That's why he recruits so well. He's been respected for decades with his time at Gonzaga and now as the head coach at Boise State. And those relationships and that respect is why high school coaches, junior college coaches, why parents of prospects want to send a young man to play for him. And he's exemplary just in terms of the way he leads his life, virtues and values and all the right elements to be a leader of young people.
House crossing over, flipping it up and in. Jalen House.
Wow, he's got that razzle-dazzle, a little flair for the dramatic, and yet it's functional. He pays it off by getting buckets. Let's face it, he's a bucket maker.
Shaver fouled down low with 54.8. Again, New Mexico over the limit, so 2 free throws coming for Boise State.
You know, going back to your point about Boise State's rebounding, they obviously recruit size, they recruit good basketball players, they recruit the right attitude, players with the appropriate attitude. But they also emphasize the rebounding. That's drilled every day in practice. It's a mindset. It's a habit that they believe every missed shot is theirs. So it's not just a coincidence that they rebound on a consistent basis, and that's a big part of their success.
This will be their 13th game in a row out-rebounding the opposition, their 9th straight victory. House wants it back, matched up against Emmanuel Acott, splitting 2 Broncos, and he gets the reverse layup.
Wow, little dipsy-do, scoop-a-roo. House. Still scrapping.
Yeah, the only question now is, can Boise State hold New Mexico to 60 or fewer? I bring that up because they have held 7 consecutive opponents to 60 points or fewer. 8 in a row here tonight would match a school record. Just one more manifestation of how defense forward they've been here in the 21-22 season.
It's so interesting, too, that they started the season struggling, and as Coach Rice said, you mentioned it earlier, they had to hit rock bottom. And what are those phrases? Out of the mud grows the lotus, or it's pitch dark, right, before dawn, before the sun comes up on a new day. And he really feels that's one reason why this team is performing so well. They have a reference point to the losing and understanding fully that's no fun. So let's not do that again. Let's instead play the right way.
Sure.
And we can rock and roll and win 9 straight.
It's remarkable that they've settled into and defined roles through that adversity, though. It doesn't always go that way for basketball programs left.
No. And there were even, some changes in personnel in the roster.
They want to be careful not to scapegoat Devonair Dupreve, but when they made that roster change, it happened to coincide with more opportunities for Degenhardt, who's been a great playmaker and just a turning point in their season. It is a numbers game.
No doubt. And it's like musicians. There's an interdependency for one another. And this is a group, the equivalent of a band that just plays great music together. And that's not always the case. And when it happens, you appreciate it. Whether you're a coach or you're a part of the program or a fan, you can see it on display.
Well, on the road here at the pit, Boise State will lead for 38 minutes of this contest. Late buckets for the Lobos. They do break 60 to snap the Boise State defensive streak, and they still are giving fouls, down 8 with 10 seconds left.
Well, Coach Pitino didn't want to foul in that case, but it's difficult because it's instinct and it's a game of habit. And as a competitor, he's going to give him an earful because clearly the instructions must have been to not foul. And so it's a teachable moment. But also instinctively, if you're a competitor, you want to keep playing. You want to get one more steal, knock down 3, and cut it to a 2-possession game.
Boise State's largest lead was 16 points in this second half at 55-39. Aycott's free throw pushes it back to double digits. KJ Jenkins here. Final possession for the Lobos. He knocks it down. Broncos will inbound and get out of New Mexico. With another victory, their 3rd in a row in Mountain West play and 9th straight overall.
Well, it's been a pleasure, JB. It's been a couple years. You make it easy. Sure appreciate you. That's why I call you the pro.
Coach, let's not wait that long again. Deal?
Deal.
See you next week. 9 in a row for the Broncos, one of the hottest teams in college basketball. That young man right there, Tyson Degenhardt, making winning plays to turn their season around. Shaver with 18, Smith with 14, Aycott 10, Kejab 11, a balanced attack on the road in Albuquerque. Final score 71-63. For Steve Lavin, I'm JB Long, our entire Fox Sports crew. Good night.